Hi guys, Chef Ryan here for part 2 of this month's kids cooking class. We set aside those kale stems earlier and now we're going to transform them into some delicious crackers. Let's take a look at everything we'll need for this recipe. To start these crackers, I'm going to take my kale stems and very thinly slice them. These kale stems might be pretty tough to eat as they are, but they're still full of lots of flavor. So I'm going to cook them down and blend them up and fold them into my cracker dough. I'll cook my kale stems for about 5 minutes until they're bright green and they've started to soften up. I'm also going to add about a tablespoon of water very carefully to my pan now to help the stems soften and not burn. That looks good there, so I'm just going to set my kale stems off to the side to cool down for a little bit. Once my kale stems have cooled slightly, I can blend them. So if you're using an immersion blender like this, you might want to get your stems in a smaller container to help keep everything together. I'm also going to add my olive oil to help blend it smooth. Now it's time to mix everything together to form our cracker dough. So I have some flour here that I'll add in my salt and my blended kale stems. If you can't get it completely smooth, that's okay. Some texture is nice in our crackers. Mix that all together. And now I'll pour in my buttermilk. So if you don't have buttermilk at home, you can just take whole milk and add a half a teaspoon of lemon juice or vinegar. Once my dough starts to come together, I can switch to my hands. I want my dough to come together to form a nice ball. Make sure you have some plastic wrap nearby so that when your dough does come together, you can put it right onto the piece of plastic wrap. And then we're going to chill our dough for about a half an hour. If you form your dough into sort of a little disc shape, it will help it cool down faster. Okay, my crackers are chilled, so now it's time to get rolling. I'm going to lightly flour my clean work surface and get my dough onto it. I'll flour the top of my disc of dough and start rolling. We want to go nice and thin with this dough so that we have crispy crackers. You can see the kale stems have given it a nice bright green color. As you're rolling out your crackers, make sure that your oven is preheated to 350 degrees. My dough is nice and thin, so now I can start punching out some crackers. I'm using a round cookie cutter for these crackers, but you can cut them into squares or really whatever shape you like. After I punch out all of the crackers, I'll place them on my baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper so that they don't stick. To keep my crackers nice and flat and not puff up on me, I'm going to prick them with a fork just in the center of each one. The last thing I'm going to do to my kale crackers is brush the tops with a little bit of olive oil just by using my fingertip, and then sprinkle it with some coarse salt. And now they're ready to hit the oven. I'll bake them for about 15 minutes until they're golden brown and nice and crispy. My crackers have just come out of the oven, and you can see they're a nice golden brown color on top. And if I snap one in half, they're nice and crispy. These crackers pair perfectly with my warm kale and white bean dip. I'm Chef Ryan from Growing Chefs Ontario. Happy Earth Day, everybody.